Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Skylar Fiction Show. I'm, of course, Skylar Fiction. Man, do we got an exciting show for you tonight. And I appreciate all of you being here to watch. You know, I'm much more awake than I was the other evening. I actually got some sleep last night, which is very nice. I didn't work too hard at work today, which is always a plus. I didn't really have anything planned for the night, but of course, I reached out to Dr. Josh, my co-host, and I was like, you know what? Let's just go on. Maybe we'll review another video. We're trying. I guess we could have done another Bible reading, but I was like, we'll save that for another week. We did a heavy amount of Bible study this week with, a lot of the what was it, Lot and Sodom and Gomorrah. Some darker or more we could call more loving topics from the Lord of the Old Testament. But we thought we would review another video. Now, I haven't seen this video. Dr. Josh has been so generous to surprise me with his content. So I have a feeling it's going to be funny and entertaining. And we also thought we would just take some questions for the audience. But before we get into all that, I think we need to allow Dr. Josh to introduce himself. Dr. Josh from the Digital Hammurabi channel. You can check out his link in the description. You need to subscribe. If you don't, I don't know what you're doing with your life. I mean, you might as well just be living on the streets, not watching, living under a rock, living miserable. I mean, I don't know, just give up all hope. Anyways, Dr. Josh, say hello. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do.
Thank you, Skylar. I know I say this every time, but I really appreciate you letting me come on here and do this because it's just a ton of fun. And I know I feel like I'm getting to put some of what the years of school to use here. It's really nice. So thank you so much for having me on. I'm Dr. Joshua Bowen. My wife Megan is here. My daughter Paige is over there. And we do the ancient Near East. We do ancient Mesopotamia, but I also have a master's in theology, and I minored in Hebrew Bible in my PhD program at Johns Hopkins. So I love the Old Testament, and I love kind of being maybe a little bit of a sounding board for Skylar, or somebody that can kind of sit back here and say, "You're right, the Hebrew does say that." So I just really appreciate the opportunity to come here, and looking forward to tonight. These videos are fun, and I love the questions from the audience. So.
And the Lord knows that I love to know that I'm right about things. Let's be clear about that. I did almost forget. I do have something planned, actually, Friday night. If you're feeling all right, we've got another Skylar Fiction political hour happening on my channel. It's going to happen, I believe, 8 o'clock. It's going to be exciting. I don't want to say his real name because I have him on Facebook, but there was a guy that was from the great debate community, a very rational guy, but he is going to argue from a conservative position. I'm hoping to get one more conservative and one more progressive. So if you're progressive, liberal, you want to come on and be on Team Skylar, email me, let me know, but fucking have your A game. Don't come on here and don't not be prepared. All right. I need a good teammate that's going to have a good discussion because Adam, which is his name, because actually that's what he used on YouTube and Google Plus. Adam is going to be on here. He's a smart dude, so I need someone that's ready to go, and it's going to be a great spirited discussion. And I'm sure I'm going to point out all the shortcomings of Donald Trump, who he says he's going to vote for 2020. Like, I get the first time, I get it. I understand why you'd vote the first time for him. Didn't like Hillary Clinton. I didn't like Hillary Clinton that much either. All right, but. Come on now. Just look at what's happening. Anyways, all right. We're not here to talk about politics. We're here to watch videos and maybe answer some questions. So before we get into this video, audience, do you guys have a question for either me or Dr. Josh? Because we're happy to answer it. And hopefully I'll be able to see it. Let's see here. You know what? Actually, I think I do have a question. I might have to write. I'm going to actually put it in the chat over here for us, so I don't have to read it. Oh, I will have to read it out loud, and I don't mispronounce everything. So Dr. Josh, because this is more for you, but it's from CRISPR CAS9. It says I'm going to get to the top so you don't miss it. Ask him about rib, baculum, penis bone, euphemism, and I am that I am as a play on the word I am EA Enik. I don't know how to say that word. It's probably
Enki.
You get a gist of the question from there. You understand it? Or?
I think there are two. And I'm actually just pulling up the text here because I remember this question coming up last night, and then I immediately forgot about it because I'm amazing. Sorry.
Yeah, I think somebody else had asked a question last night too, and I had forgot to ask it.
So, I just wanted to look and see what the word was.
Right. Respond to the wife here. Let's see here while you're looking at that. That would be funny. Like if that's like some kind of reference to like the rib is just saying like Adam gave her the bone, you know, like like I get that makes kind of sense though. Like that's how babies are made. You sit there, you take a penis, put it in a vagina. Look, I'm already gonna get demonetized. I just complained about this. That I have a frustration, audience. I'm gonna vent to you for a moment. Right. I do monetize my videos. I'm sorry you have to watch whatever ads play before them. It drove me nuts. I saw a conservative like Republican ad, and I'm like, oh my God, why? Why is this the ad playing before my channel? But anyways, I don't know what I said last night. It might have been a reference to 1 Samuel. I don't even want to say it now, just in case that demonetizes me. But it just has to do with babies and swords. Okay, and I need to figure out a way that I could use code words so we could explain this without me getting in a situation where they're going to demonetize my videos because it's graphic content.
Or
enough, funny because I'm just reading scripture and that's too graphic for YouTube advertisers. Please.
Another option would be just all theists could agree that the Old Testament says this, and then we wouldn't have to talk about it anymore.
That's true. If they just own up to it, we might be able to do a little better. We thought about, Josh and I, before we were on air, we're talking about using maybe diagrams like pictures. Like I hold up a little picture of like a cute little baby, but to the right of it's like a little bloody sword, right to the right. And just write like the baby's name is Samuel underneath. Maybe 1 Samuel.
In my defense, I thought thumbs down, maybe as opposed to a bloody sword.
Josh had a much more moderate picture of thumbs down, trying to be the good Samaritan here. I'm like, let's go dark with this. Let's see how dark I can get this. I don't know. We'll see who wins out. I shouldn't tell people to do this. Maybe we should have like a contest. Like who can like audience members. I'm gonna leave it up to you. Right? Here's what I want from you. I'm just thinking of this on the spot. We're just brainstorming. So if you're down, you want to do this, you should do this. You should create a picture. It could be drawn, photoshopped, whatever. But when we look at this picture, we know that we're referring to 1 Samuel 15. It could be my idea, baby. I don't want a picture of I can't even say it because I don't want to get I don't want to get demonetized. I don't want to actually see any harm in the picture. It's just got to kind of allude to the harm that God caused in 1 Samuel 15.
Like a baby with a frowny face.
See, you're too no, we don't, not just a frowny face. It can't, like, maybe it's like a frowny face, and then like there's another baby that could be sleeping next to him on the ground, but may not be sleeping. It could be like eternally sleeping. I don't. It's dark. I'm telling you. All right.
So
yeah, can I tell you a terrible joke? I'm going to tell a terrible joke real quick.
Yes, that would be great.
So I was long ago. I was in a movie. All right. I used to be an actor, so I was in an independent little film, and there was a line where I had to tell this joke. And it was, it's terrible. I want you guys to be prepared. This is a terrible joke. All right. So, what's blue and sits at the bottom of a swimming pool? A baby with slash floaties. Oh, it's terrible. I didn't write it. I just want to say I didn't write that joke. I just want to say I had to repeat it. Anyways, all right, Josh, you're bringing this to a whole new level of dark here.
I don't know how to follow that. So the two questions, I think, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but the two questions seem to be, is the word rib in Genesis 1 from which Eve was made, perhaps a euphemism for the bone of the penis, or a penis maybe in general. I don't know. I don't think so. I just did a quick lexicographic. I just went through a bunch of Akkadian and Hebrew texts really fast. So I've never looked into this before.
Josh gets down. You can quickly go through Hebrew and Akkadian in the span that I can tell a dead baby joke. I want you to think about that. I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, it's good. So, so both, of course, both Hebrew and Akkadian are Semitic languages, and so that they're cognates. That these two words are cognates from Tzad Lamed week, and or Tzadi Lamed week, and it looks like it doesn't mean. It literally means the side of something. So I think, I mean, it can literally, so it'll talk about, there's an Akkadian text that says on the forehead and on the side. So I don't think this has to do, and of course, side of a building. There are other uses where this is how you determine the meaning of these words, right? As you look at how they're used in various contexts. So I think that it just means the side of something. And that's just from looking at it for 2 minutes here. But I think we're on pretty firm ground with that. The other thing is this I am that I am being a play on I am Enki or Ea. So I mean, I see, so Ehya Sher Ehya is what it is said in Exodus 3:14, where, God says, formerly I was known as El Shaddai to the fathers, but I am Ehya. I am that I am. This is a very common root from Haya, to be, to live. I mean, to be or to exist. So it is just I will be what I will be, or I am what I am. I would say no. I guess I'd have to see some pretty compelling intertextuality between the text to entertain that a little further. That probably didn't do much of as an answer, but sorry.
That's what you get. Sorry. I like it. That's fine. I do. And this, by the way, folks, if you're just tuning in, if you have a question for Dr. Josh and I, you can put it over here in the chat, and we will try to answer that question. I have to, because this was a fucking funny statement someone made in here. Christopher Schroeder, I hope I'm saying that right. And he says, dark humor is like unvaccinated children. They never get old. That was a better joke than the joke I made. It's great.
What's that game that I can't play? It's a card game.
Oh, Cards Against Humanity?
Yes. I just can't play it. I just start crying.
I played it with, I was on a little beach trip not too long ago. And I was with my mom, my dad, my aunt, my uncle, and I played it with all of them and my wife, and it was awkward. Let me tell you, when what's the name of the thing? The card came out. My aunt read a card that had the word fleshlight on it. And she was like, "What's a fleshlight?" And we're trying. Like, I'm trying. Like I want to
hang on a second.
I'm like, by the way, playing this, like I'm gonna look like the pervert here who knows.
Especially if you say it immediately. Well, let's.
Well, actually, they're about $39.99. You can get here at this website. This will be real easy to get. I think can overnight it to you. Just make sure you clean it out well. That's the key. After you're done. No, but it was. I'll tell you what. It was an awkward game. There was another one. There was another word that was used. I can't even remember the other, but it was pretty extreme too. And I was like, I think it was glory hole. No shit.
Gosh. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, this is getting demonetized tonight. All right. Let's see here. Anybody's got another question here? Someone says, Tom says, I don't get the flashlight joke. Not a flashlight, it's a fleshlight. Anyways, all right. I think we should get started on a video so we have some content and we're not just I made a promise that I was trying not to get this demonetized, and I've done everything I can humanly possibly to get this.
And we've already failed in the
I mean, we're
first 5
15 minutes in. I've already done this to myself. Anyways, I switched the chat. I gotta make sure. Oh, what did I do? Sorry, there we go. Okay. Anyways, let's get this going. So without further ado, we're gonna go over to this video. And we're gonna watch it. I don't know really much about this guy, but apparently Josh tells me he loves to bring guns into all of his videos.
Well, he doesn't bring him into all. It's just when you scroll through the list of his videos, you'll see like, does Jesus love you? Then the next video is review of my Tech 9. You know, it's like, it's just kind of.
I don't have much faith Jesus will save them. They're like, I need to have an AR-15, a Tech 9. I need to have 15 guns in order for it to feel safe. I get so much for the power of prayer these days. All right, let's screen share. I did turn off notifications, so yes, that's good. So we're not going to get my personal emails coming through here. Let's do this because it's annoying me. There we go. All right. Oh, you might have heard yourself laughing, Josh.
Sorry. Boy, that sounds terrible. I apologize, everyone.
Like an infinite loop of Josh laughing. Jesus' Lord says, yes, Jesus was pro-gun. Read your Bible. Digital, you know this is true. Being there was no such thing as guns.
Oh, he's got to be screwing around.
No, listen, I thought he was a troll. I really did. But the dude's for real, man. Part of me, like, I want to give people the benefit of the doubt by the way they talk. I'm always like, no one's this crazy. No, he is. He is. It's just, it's so, when it's so different from you, like you or I in everyday life, like, it's hard to put ourselves in those shoes, but like, you know, it's hard when you're afraid of women and you have a small penis, right? Because we wouldn't know anything about that. We're comfortable with women. We both don't have small penises. So like for Jesus's Lord, he has to live with that every day, and somehow he's got to make up for it, right? So whether it's, you know, telling his wife that she can't argue with him and that he doesn't argue with women, or thinking Jesus was somehow pro-gun, that's how you deal with it. God, another great comment in the section. AD Tree Akine Haidurio, Jesus was pro nail gun.
Oh my gosh.
That's clever. I love
it. Now the sad thing is that took me about 3 seconds to get. So
bro nail, it would have been easier if he had a nail gun, probably. Less painful than actually having nails driven into you. Oh man. All right, we're gonna do this. Let's play the video. Let me screen share. As you guys know, Josh, if you can, try to keep an eye on that chat if anything interesting happens. If not, don't worry about it. We'll get through this.
Gotcha that.
I hope you guys can all hear this good enough. So what's this guy's name? Because I can't see it on here. The name of the video is "Do Atheists Follow the Path of Least Resistance?" I
don't know what his name is.
I feel like we have to.
I call him Dwight.
We'll just call him Dwight. He looks like a Dwight. I could see him Dwight. You know, there's some Dwight watching my channel like, you motherfucker. Like, why are you going to say this guy looks like me and talks like me?
I'm going to get my gun.
I'm going to get my gun. All right. Jesus would have wanted it that way. All right.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to talk to you about the path of least resistance. Before I go any further, I'd like to offer that sometimes atheists feel as though Christians are saying that Christianity makes life more difficult, and somehow that means that atheists have an easy life. That is not.
I don't know if I've ever thought that. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever had that thought that because Christianity makes your life harder, I have an easier life as an atheist. You know, actually, because of the rules and law, not rules and laws, but because of our culture in this country, I can't even. It's hard for me even just to tell people at work I'm an atheist. Like, it's not. If I tell somebody I'm an atheist in public, and I don't know them, like I'm. It's more likely that I'm going to have something held against me. To be honest with you, I don't. I guess it doesn't really make my. I just don't talk about it. I guess more than anything else. But I live in a country full of Christians. The majority of this country probably is Christian. Anyways, I guess that's it's a weird point to start off with, but all right.
Not what I'm trying to do. We all know that some people seem to make it through life with very little trouble, while others have a tremendous amount of difficulty. That occurs on both sides of the coin, atheist and Christian.
It's fair enough.
Life can be difficult. This isn't a competition, but I do want to talk about the path of least resistance. Let me offer to you that the 10 Commandments can kind of help us to understand that path of least resistance. The reason I say it's a path of least resistance is because I believe that.
Is he just parked in his car? Like, I thought he was driving for a moment. Now I'm like, wait a minute.
He hasn't touched the steering wheel in about 5 minutes. What's going on?
What? Why do people do this? Why do people do all their videos in cars? Like, I don't know if they think it's more visually like pleasing than like just doing it in your home, or maybe putting up 2 pictures of you wearing hats behind you, but like then you get all that background audio noise there. But this is a trend. I think maybe it's just a follower thing. People are just like, hey, I see other people making videos in cars. Chris Boyer, the guy we did a video last night about, our critique on his video about myself and Digital Hammurabi, actually used to do videos in his car. So I don't know. Maybe that's just a thing. I didn't really need to pause the video and talk about it. It really wasn't that interesting of a topic. But, this is what you get when you watch the Skylar Fiction Show. You're going to get random information from me. All right, screen share. Just make sure anybody said. Anybody said, oh, Puffalufficus, which I always love that name. 360 just says, fuck Skylar, you just flamed Jill bad. That's a positive thing, I guess. Puffalufficus is a fan of the channel. Let's see here. Oh, man. Let's see. Alexander K. Skylar Fiction, it's the equivalent of like being under the shower or being on the toilet. Some people think they can come up with the best ideas that way. I don't know. Maybe sometimes you're sitting on the toilet, you can probably come up. So I do think about a lot of things when I'm on the toilet. Mostly nothing really really no really good ideas, actually, now that I think about it. It's probably more like I wish I didn't have to go to work today. Or we didn't have to do this. All right, let's go back to file sharing. All right, there we go.
Sometimes people mean well on their spiritual journey, but we see the obstacles, we see the difficulties, the rules, what's expected. Sometimes it just overwhelms us. You look at the Bible, look at the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt have no God before me. If an atheist dismisses God, that commandment doesn't apply to them. No engraven images. Once again, no God doesn't apply. Not taking the Lord's name in vain. That was hard for even Christians. People say holy moly and holy shit, GD this and Jesus.
It's like holy moly and holy shit. It's if like the shit. Well, I guess the shit word's okay, but you can't say Jesus or goddamn or whatever in there. That's pretty funny.
Christ, that and such.
Jesus, he just did it. He just said it. The Lord's name in vain. Jesus Christ, that. Like, I feel like that was kind of in vain, right? Am I crazy here? I feel like that was not. It wasn't necessarily.
Yeah.
Well, you just broke one of your commandments, sir, in this video, trying to educate us about how it's harder for you as a Christian because you have to follow these commandments.
But if you don't believe in God, then you can just say whatever you want. Number 4, remember the Sabbath day. That's difficult for even the believer.
Oh, you know what? I've got a good question to go along with this. Josh, can you tell us a little bit about like the Sabbath day? Like when what that meant, like to honor Sabbath day would like what could they because I know some Jews even today, like they will not do anything on this day. I what was it? Was it the Bill Maher documentary that he did where they showed you the these Jewish people that were creating all these inventions that way they could have the invention the machines do things on the Sabbath that they would usually have to do like to get around that rule.
Hmm.
But like well let me ask you, it's a two-part question. I'm sorry, Josh, just throw this all at you. So what would be considered stuff you couldn't do or on the Sabbath? And would modern day Christians basically not be practicing the Sabbath within our modern day culture?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I've ever done a hard look at the specific regulations. I mean, you couldn't do things like pick up sticks. You couldn't. The idea was you're not supposed to do any work, right? You're not supposed to. Sorry. So I think what you're looking at from a practical standpoint is that this custom was something that the Israelites did, and these texts, these narratives were written again etiologically to show why is it that we do that. So God creates in 6 days and then rests on the seventh. This is where the Sabbath comes from. Of course, you see this in Exodus 20. But it's if you look in, and we'll eventually get to it in our readings. But if you look at the Torah, part of the idea, perhaps the most significant rationale behind this is that you're supposed to trust God on that day, right? So the idea of and it's not just the day. There's the year of Jubilee, the year of rest every there sorry, so there are years that you're supposed to let the land go fallow. It's just supposed to rest, and you're supposed to trust the Lord that he's going to provide during that year. You take that day off, you don't work, it's sanctified, you dedicate that to God, and you're supposed to trust that he's going to provide for you. And of course, this didn't happen, and this ultimately, from the text standpoint, this ultimately culminated in God sending the nation of Israel, particularly the south, into Babylonian captivity for 70 years to make up for the 490 years of Sabbath years that they did not observe. Anyway, so that's sort of the idea behind it is if you're working 7 days a week, then the rationale is you're trusting in yourself. You're not allowing that day to honor God and trusting him to take care of you on that. And no, I would say I would say that Christians probably try to some degree. I would say that probably Christians follow that law in spirit better is the wrong word, but I think they follow more the spirit of the day of rest, where they won't go out and mow their lawn, or they're not gonna go to work on Sunday. They're not gonna open up their Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, we can on Sunday,
right?
On Sunday, unfortunately, it's the only time I ever want it. Our friend Barack is in the chat. The one
cool.
I was actually talking with Josh before the show that I need to get back in contact with you, and I'm a terrible human being for not doing so. He says there are 39 acts of works that are forbidden on the Sabbath.
He would know.
Yeah, he would. Exactly. I had something that I was going to say. Oh, I forgot to tell. If you're a Christian and you want to come in here, we were going to allow you to come in tonight. I didn't even bring that up earlier. We are allowing, if you're a Christian, you can come into the room. If you don't like some of our interpretations of Scripture, or maybe some of Josh's interpretations of Scripture, we are inviting you in the room tonight. You just have to let me know, or email me at skylarfictionshow@gmail.com. No atheists, no non-believers. We got enough in here. We got two of us, and I can't stand any more sexy non-believers in this room. It can only be Christians. So, if you want to come in, beyond my vision, you can come in. You just got to email me, man. skylarfictionshow@gmail.com. Anyways, okay. Okay, see, I'll get lost reading that. Beyond My Vision, email me. You can come in. He's a pretty cool dude. Beyond My
Yeah, I
totally
like him.
different beliefs than me, but interesting dude. He believes in demons and stuff like that. All right, let's keep reading this. Actually, I was kind of hoping this would be a little bit more hilarious, this video at this point. But
Yeah, I know.
so far, I mean, it's funny, but we'll see. You never know when crazy's gonna pop its head out. So we'll get there. You might get it. Jesus' Lord may want to come in here too. This might be funny. Hey, I don't know if Dr. Josh can handle it, man. I don't know.
I probably can't. But I will. I have. I'll put on my masochistic hat.
Gotta email me if you really want to come in. All right, let's go back to this video. Screen share.
Remembering Sabbath. But if you don't believe in God, it's not a problem, right?
Nope.
Right now we have 4. How about the 5th one? Honor your father and mother. Oh, well, I obey my mother and father. I'm honoring them. Are we really? Are we respecting their authority? Are we heeding their teachings? Are we truly honoring them in a way God wants? That means forgiving them, loving them, lifting them up. A lot more to it than just being obedient.
Yeah, I think that's a mischaracterization of how atheists probably treat their parents. It's like as if we're the only thing we do when we respect our parents is just obey them. I think I think all those definitions that he gave, besides saying obviously the way the Lord wants you to do it, I think an atheist or a non-believer could love their mother and father or respect them or honor them, as I should say.
I think that's the thing that bugged me about this video, because I I remember I initially saw it critiqued on Bionic Dance's channel, and I remember the thing that annoyed me about it is again this idea, and we talked about it a little bit last night, but this idea that if you don't have the Christian God to tell you what to do, then you'll just do the most horrible, selfish things that that you can because there are no rules, which is asinine, in my opinion. Because this idea that, but again, it all stems from morality is grounded in God's nature, and so if you deny the existence of God or deny His authority over you, then you have your own subjective morality, and so that means you just do whatever you want to do, which is ridiculous. So
no, it is. It's absolutely as if they pretend like we have no morals, basically. And if we do have morals, we don't give a shit about them. Like we're just willing to at any moment give them up just because, hey, I'd rather be immoral, basically. It is kind of silly. It's what scares me is like when I ask people like when they're like, well, why don't you, they'll give me some example like, why don't you go out and just hurt a bunch of women? They use softer language, right? And then I'm like, because I don't want to. Like that's not in me. I don't feel like that's something I want to do. I don't want to hurt a woman. I don't want to do this. And then when you ask them like, why don't you do it? Because God told me not to. Like,
yeah, I mean that's the scary part.
And they'd be like, yeah, I would be doing all kinds of crazy things. It's like, would you? I hope what I really hope in the situation is they don't really believe what they're saying. I think it's just more like because they're in the debate and it's rhetoric and they're just fighting with you, fighting with you. I don't really think they believe that. Once again, maybe I'm being too I'm being too open and kind with giving them the benefit of the doubt when maybe they perhaps don't deserve it. So yeah, so we'll see. Let's see here. Oh, there's Beyond My Vision. Let me give him a link real quick. All right, Beyond, you're getting a link right now. You can come in. Oh, that is not what I wanted. That was the question you got asked earlier. I got to click the link again. Let's see here. Copy. Jesus is Lord. I'm going to invite you in if you want to come in. You just got to email me. I don't know why I'm doing that. This is one of the things where I only hurt myself and give myself a headache by doing this. But the audience seems to like when he joins. So
this is true.
That is true. Every video I put him in, people watch. They watch the crap out of. You know what? I'll just send him a link if he wants to come in. Let's just do it. I know I have him somewhere in this email. There he is. All right, Jesus is Lord. There you go, buddy. You're gonna get one too. We've got quite a bit of people watching tonight, man. Let's see. There you go. If you want to come in, come in. All right. Oh, you know what I need to do is turn on that camera, man. Sorry, guys. This is the technical aspects I got to do while I get distracted. There we go. We're good. All right. Both are invited. Where are we at? Let's go back to the video. Screen share.
So without God, are we really honoring our parents the way God wants?
Well, that's a silly statement. Without God, are we really honoring our parents the way God wants? We don't believe in God. You really wouldn't need to. We wouldn't believe that God wants a specific way for us to honor our parents. But I see no reason under the examples that he gave why we couldn't argue or honor God that way. Whoa, we got a lot. Let's see here. Oh, Beyond My Vision's here. Let me show him in broadcast. What's up, Beyond My Vision? How are you, brother?
Oh, I'm good. How you doing?
Good, man. Hey, just to let you know, I got to give you a heads up. It's more an audio issue. I've already talked with Josh. So, not that we'll have a problem with this, but whenever I talk, whenever I'm talking, you guys can't talk over, okay? Just because the mic will pick it up. I'm on speaker because they do this video. I don't think it will be a problem or anything. I just need to let you know. All of us need to just talk. Try not to talk over each other. All right, good. We're gonna go back. We're watching this video. If you do have something to say about it, Beyond, just please at any point stop and you can interject in any of the conversation. Okay?
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I just want to let you know too. I've been on your show a few times, and you always showed me a lot of respect. There was that one time I got on there, and hey, sometimes I get passionate and heated with people, not necessarily you, because there's a lot of fake Christians out here that point fingers, and like you said, they say, well, you don't believe in God's morals, so you guys can't have morals. That's a lie, because I've seen a lot of atheists that have way, way better morals than so-called Christians, and vice versa. I mean, people are people at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a good point to make. You're right. It really comes down to the individual in that sense, right? You have Christian monsters, you have atheist monsters out there that do horrible things. It's really, it's up to the individual in that sense. We had another question from the audience. Actually, someone was pointing at, and it says, "Ask Josh, how many Sumerian and Akkadian stories parallel the Bible roughly?" Well, here, let me list off a couple. Well,
sure.
And you give me a yes or no. Genesis, Garden of Eden story.
Not directly. I mean, there are definitely ancient Near Eastern parallels to those creation motifs, but I wouldn't say there's an Adam and Eve story necessarily. The idea of Eden may come from the Sumerian word for Eden, which means step. But I mean, I don't think there's been any consensus on that. So maybe not so much that one.
How about the flood story?
Definitely. I mean, it originates there. So
that's Sumerian culture.
Yeah, Sumerian had the earliest that we know of. Sorry, the earliest Sumerian flood narrative that we know of comes from the early second millennium. It very well may go back to the third millennium. A guy just wrote a monograph on this. Chen maybe is his last name. I can't remember, but he argues that it comes from the early second millennium. But at any rate, the biblical text is coming from the middle of the first millennium. So,
how about Job's story?
Yep. Akkadian texts that parallel that.
How about being in the belly of a whale? Is that Jonah?
I don't know of anything. I don't know of anything that would parallel that.
I can't wait for us to get to that point.
Yeah.
I think that would be, because I don't remember much about that story.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've read that actual chapter. I think that will be good to discuss and learn a little bit more about Jonah. Well, I wonder if he had like a little bed in there that he slept on, maybe a little couch, maybe some food stored up. I wonder if he just ate the fish that came in, like to the belly, like that's how he survived. He's like, I gotta eat that. How long was Jonah in the belly of a whale? Do you remember?
3 days and 3 nights.
Oh, 3 days. I mean, you gotta do something in there.
He wrote some pretty amazing poetry in there, though. So
did he write? Man. All right. Good stuff. All right. Any other big? Do you know any big ones? What would be maybe the ones I haven't listened to? Any other big stories that you would say came from maybe Samaria or Deacon?
Oh, I mean, sorry. So much of the the Psalms, for example, or the Proverbs. I mean, gosh, sorry. So there's a difference between this direct borrowing, if I can use that word, this very clear intertextuality, like when you have the flood narrative. The flood narrative is it's as close to being borrowed as you can get. I mean, taken almost exclusively from. Then there are things that are allusions, and you can tell that they're probably using the motif, the ancient Near Eastern motif, but it's common enough that you can't nail down, yeah, that they definitely had this text in mind. But I mean, you know, like in the book of Ecclesiastes, Kohelet, you have references to Gilgamesh, you know, definite parallels there. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that there's just what they call intertextualities, so the two texts or the groups of texts interacting with one another.
Good. All right. Cool. All right. Let's go back to this video.
Number 6, thou shalt not commit murder. Well, I think most people universally agree that's a bad one. So I think atheists and Christians can agree. The only people that don't agree with that are stone cold murderers, right? The next one, thou shalt not commit adultery. If someone doesn't believe in God and they don't believe that God establishes marriages and they should be between a man and a woman, one man and one woman, then anything goes. Polygamy.
Oh wow, this is now. Let me tell you something.
I do have to say it's comical, man.
What'd you say?
It is. It's comical almost. Like this guy, how he speaks. I mean, when you laughed, I laughed. Just the way he talks and pronounces some things. It's like, is he serious right now or is he not serious?
No, you're right. Like it's like, oh, you don't think that like my wife, because we don't believe. Well, she may believe in God. My wife, I don't. But like, you don't think she would pretty much kill me if I committed adultery? Like, of course, like just because I don't believe in God doesn't mean I don't love my wife and I don't want to honor her and respect her. It's just a silly concept. It's funny that he mentions polygamy, though. That's pretty funny here. I wish I should have let that play. We'll go back and hear that because obviously, not all Christian churches, but I mean, I guess the Mormons really more than anybody else kind of believe in polygamy. But there were lots of people in the Old Testament who did.
King Solomon, yeah,
was one. That did have multiple wives, and I mean there are arguments, and maybe either one of you guys can maybe speak to this, because I have arguments that everybody who had multiple wives in the Bible were punished in some form. I don't know how much truth there is to that. I don't really remember, to be honest with you. But I've heard that argument. There's very few people with multiple wives in the Bible, at least the key players, I guess you should say, and that a lot of those key players were punished in some form. Any thoughts, my friends?
Well, I would say, I mean, the examples of the Bible are pretty clear. King Solomon being the most predominant, I guess, example of polygamy. And he just lets you know, I mean, at the end of the day, it's empty and you can't fulfill all. Think about it. I mean, try to please 3 women, let alone 700 women. I mean, you're not going to please. They're going to be mad at each other. They're going to be fighting. And anyone that's been in a real relationship with someone knows it's not going to work out. So I think it's just good examples.
You might have a little bit of fun with that many wives, but will it work out? No. Yeah. Probably not. I'll give you that. I think it's an honest answer. Josh,
I mean, someone's gonna get mad. Let's just say that
someone's getting mad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably a little more complex than that, in my opinion. So David, David is told by God. I think it's David. I'm trying to remember the passage, but that God has given him, in particular, the many concubines that he has, right? It wasn't like something that he was sneaking behind God's back, or, and as Beyond said, this is something that's common for the early monarchy, and I guess these are problem passages. I remember I remember when I was in seminary trying to think these passages through, and that was the rationale that, I heard that rationale that, oh, well, things went bad for them when they had multiple wives. So I grabbed onto that because it's, okay, that's a possible answer that I can hang on to. But in reality, it's far more complicated, in my opinion, far more complicated than that. And this really has to do with the cultural milieu. This has to do with what was socially acceptable. And again, I think this is, if nothing else, evidence for subjective morality, and this morality being able to kind of move and be fluid based on the cultural and societal norms of the period.
That's pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much it. Like you said, if it's culturally accepted, I mean, it's just like some women out here with celebrities. They don't mind being with a celebrity that's with multiple women just because of their status. Same with kings or queens and these type of people that have this type of stature. Some women will, let down some of their, I guess, guard and accept it. That it's acceptable at that time. Like I said, it's a moral standard, I guess. It's just acceptable to the culture at the time. I mean, but most women are not going to accept that, though.
I mean, I think, when you think about something like this, it's what's considered normal. So, if you're in a particular religion that allows for polygamy, not that I'll be specific about that, it's not considered taboo. You're not considered, for example, as a wife among five, let's say. You're not looked down upon like you're being shamed for being one, like you're a lesser human, or somehow you've received a lower status. And so because it doesn't carry that societal taboo, it becomes more acceptable. And I think, when you think about just something basic like jealousy today, as jealousy has existed, since, jealousy today stems from how should I feel many times, right? For example, I have 3 kids, and I love all 3 of my kids. And I don't think there's ever a time that my oldest daughter thinks, well, he's being really nice to the 5-year-old. Does he like me as much because he's really being nice to her? Because from a societal standpoint and from our family dynamic, it's very, very clear that my love is equally dispensed, and it's not. Love is not diminished to one child when love is given to another. And I think that from a societal standpoint, because we are expected to be jealous of that which is considered ours relationally, that these feelings are engendered because it feels like it's an infraction upon our rights as human beings in the society that we're in. So
I did want to catch something that you said earlier. So God gave David concubines?
Yeah, I want to define the passage.
Yeah, if we can. Let's do that. That'd be an interesting thing to talk about.
Because I thought it was in the context of Uriah.
And what exactly would a concubine be? Is it like a sex slave, basically, or like a slave and a slave with benefits? I guess you could say to some degree, or
yeah, I haven't done research on harems, but I mean these are these are women that are, for example, if a son was not to, if you had a ruling dynasty, the son was not to go into his father's harem.
You're talking about when Saul gave David Saul's wives?
Yeah, so I mean, it was considered something that was, those women were dedicated, right, to that individual, and so it was considered very taboo and a big deal if they went somewhere else.
So using BibleStudyTools.com, just to get a basic definition of it, it says a concubine, a female slave who functioned as a secondary wife or surrogate mother. That's a very pleasant way to say it. A second wife or a surrogate mother. The Hebrew word for concubine, which of course I can't pronounce, is a non-Semitic loan word borrowed to refer to a phenomenon not indigenous to Israel. Babylon and Assyrian law codes regulate primary and secondary marriages more specifically than the Old Testament laws. Exodus 21 verses 7 through 10 has been appealed to a regulative of some aspects of concubine, but that only I'm going to go. Let's just go to that. I'm going to go to the verse real quick. Exodus 27, 21. Let's search Google for that real quick. Oh, this is Exodus 21 verses 10 through 10. This is if a man sells his daughter as a servant, she is not to go free as a male servant do. If she does not please the master who has selected her for himself, he must let her be redeemed. He has no right to sell her to foreigners because he has broken faith with her. If he selects her son, selects her for his son, he must grant her the rights of a daughter. If he marries another woman, he must not deprive the first one of her food, clothing, and marital rights. This is when women were property, basically, and sold to each other. It's so terrible. All right, what else was there on there? How about this? What else we got? Exodus 21, 7 through 10, Genesis 35, 22. What's this file verse? In the region... Genesis 35, 22. While Israel was living in the region, Reuben went and slept with his father's concubine, Baliah, and Israel heard of it. Jacob had 12 sons. All right. You got one more for me here. Genesis. First Sam. This should be interesting. Okay. Let's see. 2 Samuel 6. Whenever I get to a Samuel chapter, I know it's going to be good when I get here. 2 Samuel 16, 21 verses 22. Another word I can't. Athebel, full, answered, sleep with your father's concubine, whom he left to take care of the palace. Then all of Israel will hear that you have made yourself obnoxious to your father in the hands of everyone, and you will be more resolute. So they pitched a tent for Absalom on the roof, and he slept with his father's concubines in the sight of all of Israel.
Pitched his tent.
Pitched his tent. And he gave Israel a show by sleeping with the concubines. It's the X-rated book sometimes, the Bible. All right. I think we got to get back to this video. If we don't, we'll never get there.
Yeah, play the guy once again. What's his name?
We got to. We don't know. We pulled. I could look it up. I could be not. You know what? Actually, hold on. Let me just. What's the guy's channel?
What is it?
Jesus Freak 777.
I don't know why these people do this 777 because they play a lot of numerology stuff and that's against the Bible. So I don't know why these people that claim that they're Christians but they do this 777-333. That's weird.
You know, Brock in the chat actually he is Jewish. I think is he a rabbi also? Josh, you know?
He is.
I don't. Brock, if you're in the comment, please just put. Yeah, I don't know if I forgot if you told me you were a rabbi or not. But he says a concubine is a half-wife. In fact, the Hebrew word is, can't pronounce it, Pileges, Pelege, which comes from plague Isha, which literally means the half-wife. Or I like to refer to it as your side chick. He says they have a different legal status where they don't get a marriage contract. Interesting. Yeah, I really got to bring him on for a conversation. I need to stop slacking.
Very intelligent guy. Very
I know he'll be an interesting person to talk to.
And he's super nice.
Yeah, and I would totally imagine that. I've had little dialogue with him so far, and everything's been wonderful. All right. Okay, let's go back to this. Let me go back to sharing live screen.
He's on the table, open relationships. The old argument, well, my wife lets me philander because we have an open marriage and I let her. So there's no sin, not according to God. Thou shalt not steal. Boy, how do we wiggle around that one sometimes? I'm not stealing, I'm downloading or bootlegging. I'm pirating. You know,
it's a lot harder to pirate these days than it used to be. Back in the good old days of LimeWire. You guys, anybody out there? LimeWire? All right.
Oh, yeah, Napster.
Napster.
Where you were most likely going to get some kind of virus. The amount of times I had to wipe my computer because of the fucking virus I would get. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of stealing. I'm not gonna lie to myself and pretend that I wasn't taking something that didn't belong to me. But man, I just needed that next movie.
Justify things. Well, that company made so much money off of me. I'm making them less profitable. I didn't steal from them. I just made them less profit. Okay, next one. Thou shalt not bear false witness. I think most people agree that lying is bad. Of course, there are moral examples that we can put forth and think about whether it's always wrong to lie. Should you lie about having Jews in your closets? Not Germany is.
What did he say?
I mean, I know what he means.
I know what he means too. He's like, shouldn't you lie about having Jews in closets? But he's talking about the old saying if Jews, it was Nazi Germany and you had Jews, you were hiding in your attic and
Oh yeah, wartime stuff. Okay.
It just sounds funny.
But the way he said it was like, hey, shouldn't you lie about those Jews in your closet? Listen, folks, I have no Jews in my closet right now. None. There are no Jews in my closets in my house right now. I'm telling you the truth.
I do that so often where I in my head, I assume that everybody understands the context of what I'm getting ready to say because it's in my head. Yeah, obviously, everybody knows it.
So true. All right.
Pounding on your door. Well, let's say that most people accept that lying is a bad thing. How about coveting? Well, once again, if you remove God from the equation, coveting is not so bad, is it? So what we have here are 10 rules that apply.
He didn't really elaborate on that. I don't understand why. It's harder if there's a God and then there's no God. I don't understand. If I thought coveting my neighbor was wrong, I don't know how that's any less hard because there isn't a God. I think he just that was kind of just a little, let me just swipe that away. I didn't really have much to think about this last one. And then he just kind of gave up too quick. Oh, we're only halfway through this video. Oh, 42.
It's Christians. That Christians struggle with obeying. But the atheists might think 3 of them, 2.5 maybe, apply to them. So from the very beginning, a person struggling to find their way spiritually might say, well, look at all these rules. I don't believe that. I don't want to follow all those rules. So subconsciously, because it's the path of least resistance, they might decide, hey, I agree with the murder and the stealing thing, bad things. I don't do those things. And then we can give ourselves a false sense of righteousness. I haven't killed anybody and I don't steal stuff, so I'm a righteous, good person. Not by God's standards.
They don't believe in God.
I mean, that's the thing. By this logic, thinking about this cult leader, he's called for people to exodus out of America because he's saying that it's the great Babylon of Revelation, and by this logic, you could say, well, the Messiah has called for you to leave America and go to Baja, Mexico. You're not going because you don't want to obey that rule. It's hard to travel. You got to leave all your stuff, sell your business, and move down there. That you're just not doing it because you want the easy way out. Well, no, it's because I think he's psychotic.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah,
there's a lot of those. There's a lot of those religious cults too, and that's crazy. Like me, myself, I believe in Jesus Christ, but I believe God is love, and he doesn't call me to judge anyone, hate on anyone, and do anything crazy. There's everyone has common sense. God gave you common sense for a reason. I mean, You know, I see that you got the disabled American veteran. My cousin's in the Airborne Rangers. I don't know if you know what that is. So I highly respect people in the military, and that takes a lot of discipline. I'm assuming we're in the military. I mean, you look like you have been. You know, there's a lot of great men and women that believe a lot of different stuff. I just, you know, if you put it under the context of God as love, then it should be simple. And if you realize that you're not saved by Bible law, that makes it a lot simpler. A lot of these people are sitting around preaching the 10 Commandments, these laws. The Bible's clear. It says if you offend at one point, you're guilty of it all. It's either you have faith that Jesus Christ paid for your sins or you don't. So a lot of these people, if you want to demolish any Christian believer, once they start bringing up the law and saying you have to follow it, they don't even believe in the Bible. Just let them know that.
Yeah, good point. Good point. All right.
It's easy to get caught up in taking the path of least resistance, because sometimes the path of least resistance makes us look better than we actually are. As a Christian, when I go through the 10 Commandments, I see my mistakes. I know in my heart, I know where I've faltered, fallen short. I'm convicted by it. And it's unpleasant. And it makes life a little more stressful, because I want to please God. And I want to do the right thing. But again, sometimes I don't. Therein lies the difficulty of being a Christian. The flesh is weak, but the spirit is strong. Let me offer to you this. I can understand the appeal of wanting to follow the path of least resistance. It's easy to walk around thinking, I got life by the horns. I'm not murdering and I'm not stealing. I am not doing anything else wrong. It's simply not true. God has a...
You know what? I don't know if I want to watch this video anymore. To be honest with you. I think he's like, now I'm kind of bored.
Yeah.
But I want to do though.
Seems all over the place.
Yeah,
this one's my fault, guys. I thought it would be.
It wasn't bad. It's not a bad video by any means. Hold on. What I want to do though, I want to look at. Let's pull it up here. I want to see what his other videos are and share it with everybody. Let's see here. Let's see what other kind of fun stuff we'll run into while we're looking at. All right, so we're gonna go to his channel. You guys can see it here. So if you guys want to subscribe to Jesus Freak 777,
the arrogant git,
you can. Let's see here. What we should do. What I like to do. Okay, we got his videos. What I like to do is go to the most popular. Then we kind of get a feel for what he's kind of known for.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, you got to do that. That's what does it. Or go to the oldest. You want to see like sort by the oldest. You see the what the first video was like, and that's always really interesting. Oh, look, there's a 9mm gun, like we were talking about earlier. His most popular video has 1.4 million views. Drinking a 10-year-old Coke.
Oh wow!
We're gonna go.
Nice.
What is Hey YouTube, Jesus Freak with you once again. I wanted to share my can of Coca-Cola with you all. Now, some of you that are keen observers might notice that this can of Coca-Cola looks different. It is unopened. It's a full can of Coca-Cola.
You know, I think I remember drinking that style of Coca-Cola from that can. It looks familiar.
Cola, but it was bottled in 1999.
Comments are disabled on this video. Why would you need to disable comments on this video? Likes are disabled. Dislikes are disabled.
He had a lot of negative things. That's why he wasn't scared.
Maybe it wasn't even a real 10-year-old Coke. Who knows?
Matter of fact, you can see on the bottom, it is October 16th, 2000. Hopefully that comes in for you.
It was a good year.
That's the expiration date. It was bottled in 1999. And I scoured the can looking for any website address or anything as such. And of course, it doesn't have one because in 1999, people were on dial-up still. And
Y2K.
The internet just wasn't as huge as it is today. But I found this can of Coca-Cola and I thought, you know what? Let's see what 10-year-old Coca-Cola is like. So let's check it out. Okay, here we are.
Why am I watching this?
I'm drinking out of this fine styrofoam cup.
We poured it. You saw that. It looked fine. It actually smelled pleasant.
He's just going to drink it.
Have you ever caught yourself?
You know, what am I doing? I'm going to watch this video.
We're enabling him.
I know. I was like, oh, here we go. Here. This is good. Atheism, the greatest danger to all humanity.
Hey, YouTube, I want to talk to you about atheist morality. Now, a lot of people say atheists can't be moral, and I argue that. I say atheists can be moral, but moral by whose standards? You see, I believe that human beings derive our morality from multiple sources, one being family, the second being society, the third being personal experience. But there is a fourth source of morality that humans look to, and that is God through theism.
That's kind of interesting that he admits that there's subjective morality, basically. Like he's saying that there's other kinds of morality, but there's also God's morality. I'm kind of surprised by that he's actually willing to admit that here.
Well, I believe that the morality that human beings subscribe to, usually concerning family, society, and personal experience, are actually quite flexible. If you study the term moral relativism, you'll see that society can often dictate what is or isn't moral. So there is a flex there within that morality. However, within Christianity, we have direct teaching as to what is moral. And that morality never flexes. It's very rigid. So I do believe atheists can be moral within the context of.
That's not really true. It does flex. Morality changes throughout the Bible.
Absolutely. You know what? That's absolutely true because, there was a standard to where the laws were there, Old Testament versus New Testament covenant. So, it changed drastically. Things have changed drastically, so you can't say it hasn't. Anyone that's a Christian that says it hasn't, they haven't read the Bible.
I agree. I think it's a fair point. Like, it's okay to say that, like, they're like, well, if you read the Bible, there's clearly two different kinds of, you have the New Testament law and you have the Old Testament law. Obviously, some of the laws I think kept going in the New Testament, but there were many stuff that they didn't practice in the New Testament as far as that goes. Yeah, I don't know. We're done sharing videos for tonight. I think we're good with that part. I think we'll move more into the area.
If someone would want to know all the Bible laws, as Jesus said, love God first and then love thy neighbor as thyself. And he says all the other laws and prophets hang amongst those. So really, a lot of atheists are following the Bible law better than so-called Christians because they're doing a lot more loving thy neighbor as thyself than so-called Christians are. I see it a lot.
Well, and I don't want to be, I want to be charitable because, there are a lot of good, Christians out there that are doing.
Yeah, no, and I'm a Christian myself. And I realized that there was one time when I was in error. I thought you had to follow the Bible law. I wasn't a Christian always. I used to be a lot of things in this world. We're not going to go there tonight and speak about those things. But, like I said, just about a year and a half ago when I got attacked by the demon and I seen the power of Jesus, my life changed. Though I believed on God before that in Jesus, I just never picked up the Bible and never read it. But after that demon attacked me, I studied it, religiously by myself and praying to God. I didn't go to a church. None of that.
Now I have my headphones in. Now I can do this like normal. Yeah, does it ever are you ever still freaked out by that experience?
No, once that happened, once the Holy Spirit interceded and I cast the demon to the abyss in the name of Jesus, there was no fear. I never had another experience. God didn't tell me anything special. I'm nothing special. I'm no better than anyone on this earth. I'm equal with every man on this earth. And the simple fact that I just seen the power of Jesus and I realized it was real. And then, I had to know for myself and I had to really study the Bible and look through it and see what it said. And I think a lot of people can get lost in starting you'll kind of look at the Bible as like a book. Mm-hmm. Like say if I read, we're reading a book, whatever book you have, you usually read it from the front to back, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not how the Bible's read. That's what most people don't understand. There's not a book you could read to the front to back.
How come?
And that's the confusing part.
Why do you think that?
Well, the reason you can't read it from the front to back, I mean, you can. I mean, obviously, there. I mean, you can. I'm not saying you can't.
No, I get it. You're just saying like it would
Yeah,
be better to do it in this particular manner.
yeah, because well, that'd be like starting. That'd be like living in today's age and saying, you know what, I'm gonna learn about rubbing flints together and doing this in school. Why? There's computer, there's lighters out there. There's,
I see what
it's different. So why would you start there and go here instead of starting right where you're at right now and then work your way back?
I see your
Because why?
point.
Yeah, why would you fast track? Instead of like you backtracked all the way, you're trying to rub two flints together to make a fire. We have lighters now. And same with the Bible. It's like, why would you go back there when there's something better?
So you're saying the idea would be better to focus on the New Testament first because that's the law basically that you're under, and
Yeah,
then go back and learn a little bit more of the history of.
you wouldn't understand. You couldn't understand it in a spiritual standpoint until you understood the New Testament, and then the Old Testament will make sense because, or else it's just going to sound scattered and like mumbo jumbo. I mean, it's just going to sound stupid. I mean, that's at least to me, that's how I looked at it.
No, I hear you, Josh. Do you have any questions? Maybe you might have I don't know if you've ever really talked to Beyond. I don't know if you might have a question for him tonight, or I'm sure I can come up with some. Or if Beyond, you have any questions for us? We're happy to answer them while you're here.
No. I mean, if you have a question, if I forget what his name is,
Dr. Josh.
Dr. Josh, Dr. Josh. Are you really a doctor?
I am, yeah.
What do you do?
I have a PhD in Assyriology.
What is that exactly? That name goes over my head.
It just means that I study the ancient languages and culture of ancient Iraq. So I read Sumerian and Akkadian, and I got a PhD from Johns Hopkins in that. I minored in Hebrew Bible. I have a master's in theology from Capital Bible Seminary. So I just work with a lot of ancient languages. So the Bible sort of falls into that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the Bible would fall into that to a degree. I mean, but I mean, I think a lot of people miss the whole point of the Bible. The whole point is love. I mean, at the end of the day, God showed stories and stories of people who messed up. You could point them out. All the stories. These weren't good people. I mean, none of these guys were better than you or better than me. A lot of these guys actually that God used were worse off than us. I mean, and that's the whole story, was showing how much God loves you. I mean, everyone, because he even, that's simple. I mean, it said, the Bible says all have fallen short of the glory of God. Every single one of us. There's not a person on this earth that hasn't. So, I mean, I just look at it as love, and anyone that tries to put God's standards on anyone, they're a hypocrite because you have not lived up to God's standards. You can't. None of us can.
Well, that brings up an interesting point. Maybe I can ask you a question about that. Is why, as a God, would you make a being that possibly couldn't live up to your own standards? Right? Like, it seems kind of like, to me, and this is my opinion, asinine. Like, if I had the powers of God where I could create universes and conscious beings that could think and that could freely love me, like, why would I make them in a way that they're never going to be able to live up to my standard? And then if they don't, right, you have this place called hell where you'll suffer for all eternity. We have these things like demons, like the demon you believe attacked you. Why would you do that?
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if I believe in the whole hell doctrine. I think the words have been twisted a little bit as far as what exactly that means. Some say, I know that, I look at it like this: how is a God of all love going to send a person to be tortured for eternity? I mean, come on now, that would make me more just than God, because I wouldn't do that to you guys. So
yeah,
am I more?
I totally appreciate that. Don't get me wrong. Like from a religious point, I appreciate that kind of position, and I agree with you. It doesn't make any sense, right?
No, not at all.
But at the same time, then, like, okay, so what are the okay? So God has a standard for us that we can't possibly live up to. What's the point of that? Like,
Well, I
surely
think
it
you know
can't.
sometimes people reread the laws of the Bible and read these things, and it's like it says, God says it's the living word of God, it's the breathing word of God. So sometimes it'll scare you up to make you live better. Sometimes it's meant to, you know, breathe life into you. Sometimes it's made to, you know, look at your life and realize, hey, I was being a scumbag over here. I was coveting over here. I was envious over here. I was these things. And though I'm not saved by the law, you know, these are good concepts. And in America, we got it pretty good because, and across the whole world, pretty much, most people have these laws. You know, you murder someone, you're going to prison for life, or there's going to be consequences behind these things. You know, you're not just going to go out here and act any way you want in America because the police will be coming to your house picking you up. You're acting stupid. So, but yeah,
but there's things that are against God's law that just simply not believing in him or worshiping him is against God's law. So like that isn't something that's necessarily shared throughout the world. And it just doesn't seem to, like, when you said something about, and I don't know if you meant to come off this way, like what you were articulating here, but it seemed like when you said that, you know, he does this to scare us into, I guess, basically worshiping him or loving him. It seems kind of strange, right? And this is what I was really getting at, is that, like, there are a billion different things that none of us in this room can physically do just because we were made in bodies that physically can't do them, right? I used to give the example that I can't make wings grow out of my back and start flying into the air. It's just physically not possible. I couldn't do it, right? But I'm able to do other things. So what doesn't make sense to me is, like, why God couldn't have made it to where those things that he doesn't want us to do, we wouldn't have the capability to do them. It seems like the
no,
only
I know I know
you
exactly
see
what
I'm
you're
saying?
saying because I have these same questions myself. Why couldn't everything just be made perfect and right the first time? Like, you know what they say, do it right the first time. You have to do it the second.
Yeah,
Why couldn't it have been
that's
done?
true.
You know, that
Yeah, that's true.
you do it right the first time, then you wouldn't have to do it the second. Um, yeah, and there's just some mysteries that you, me, or you know, no Christian or whatever, what have you in this earth are going to be able to explain. I mean, that's just the way it is, and in the fallen state that we're in this world, and that's just what the way it is. I mean,
Mhm.
it's almost like this. God has gave you a free will choice whether to believe in him or not. He's not going to make anyone believe. I mean, he's not going to force anyone's hand. Just like Satan made the free will choice to disobey God and think he was going to become God, and he fell. And ever since his fall, that's what caused the fallen state. I mean, ever since he deceived Adam and Eve, they had one thing to do. That was not to eat from the tree. As a Christian, you have one thing to do: believe on the Lord Jesus Christ.
I think what makes it hard for me is I think about, like, you say something like, you know, God gave us the ability to believe in him or not believe in him. And if I take that premise, well then, okay, that's one part of it. So where's the part where I feel like he's in my life? Like, right? Where's that part where, like, if I want, like, I want to believe in him. If there's really a God, I want to know about him. I want to know what this being wants, especially if it's like something where it wants a specific relationship with me in a positive level. Like, man, that's kind of like, whew, all right, breath of fresh air. Like, when I die, there's something better than this, right? There's a heaven that I get to go to, and, you know, maybe that heaven is everything Skylar fiction's ever wanted. You know, maybe it's like that big screen TV, that really comfortable bed where I get to sleep in every day, you know, the best food that ever existed. But, like, I look at life and the world we're in, uh, and I think about, like, some of it's really awful. Like, I admittedly, my life is not that way. I'm 100%, and I would never complain if there was a God about the life he specifically gave me, right? But at the same time, a lot of the things that make things better in this world have come about within really about the last 100 years, right? All of human existence before that was plagued with disease and poverty and uh, lack of, like, technology. I'm not talking about just for, like, entertainment, like stuff that you would need to survive. Like, people literally, for most of human history, 95% of their day was just trying to get food for the day. It's what took human culture so long for us to be able to develop But it wasn't until we could actually get better farming and things like that we actually had more time that we could invest within like technologies and things and bettering our lives in other ways. But when real simple things he could have done, like real simple things, like just how about we get rid of some of these diseases that exist? But yet, like I'll come back to the main point, which was he leaves it up to me to be able to see him. And it's up to me if I want to choose to worship him. But then he gives me no reason to. Like, at least if I looked around at the world and was like, man, everything's really good. These people don't get sick and die all the time. Children aren't molested. God comes and talks to me at night and says, hey, Skylar, how's everything going? Let's talk things out today. If you don't want to love me, you don't have to love me. That's up to you because I gave you a free will. But like, it just, at least in my life, I can't speak for other people's lives. It hasn't happened. So I don't know. It's puzzling to me. Like for a God who's supposed to loves and cares about me and wants a relationship with me, he seems so absent from everything.
Absolutely.
So I hope that's a little long.
No, I don't.
I apologize.
No, yeah. I don't. I think that's how most people feel. Even true believers in God. I mean, that's what faith is about. You can't see. I mean, it's believing without seeing. It's faith. I mean, it's really unexplainable. I mean, that's what it is. Faith is really an unexplainable thing. How can you explain faith when you can't see anything? That's what true faith is. You can't see it. It's like you saying, when I fall back, you say you're gonna catch me. So I have faith, but I don't know if you're really going to. I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
Well, why have faith at all? Like, what's the point? Like, if like I said, it's you. I think you have a little bit different of a story, right? Like you believe that a demon attacked you. If I believed the demon attacked me, I'd probably be in your same boat. Like I would probably believe in the Bible.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's a crazy situation. It's like, and that's the one thing I pray about. It's like, and I got people out here that around me that don't believe in this and that. It's almost like I pray for them to get attacked by the demon, not so that they could get killed or anything, nothing bad, but just so they seen what I seen, because it's like, why did I see it and no one else seen it? That's like, it seems unfair to me. And then like you said, why, I question God all the time. I know it says, you're not supposed to, people say you're not supposed to question God, but why does it have to be this way? Same questions you have, and same questions many atheists have. Like, why does it have to be this way? Why did that demon attack me? I also had the question, like, what would have happened if the Holy Spirit wouldn't intercede? Where would that demon have brought me? Would it have been hell? Would it have been this?
Yeah.
I have those questions. It's like, and then I also was, sober. I didn't drink out, now that I drink every once in a great while, but at the time I had not drank alcohol in almost 3.5 years. I was practicing false spirituality at the time. And that's when that whole bout came about.
All right. We've gone an hour and a half. I think we've come to our end. I think this was a fun episode. I think we had a good time, right? Everybody enjoyed themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you guys did.
Appreciate you.
Oh, dude, beyond my vision. Thank you for always coming on here. I think you're a good dude. I appreciate you for coming on the channel.
Same with you also.
But we're going to end it here. I'll say goodbye to Beyond next time. I'll see you real soon, man. Have a good night, brother.
Right.
So I think we had a good episode. It was fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Josh and I have to be up very early in the morning. We're not in the same house or anything. We're not sharing the same bed. If that's like, if you thought that when I said we both need to get up in the morning, that's not the case.
Well, I think didn't John Cowan say that he thinks we're secretly married? So
yes, and remember, there's no Jews in our closets right now. So
well, there goes your monetization.
That's probably that's where they draw the line. They're like, what did he say? No, we'll see. We'll see how the game is played. But I had a fun night. This time I'm not. Well, I'll talk about that off here. Anyways, guys, it was fun. Thank you for watching. What do I need to say? Remember, Friday night, guys. Skylar Fiction's Political Hour, Episode 2. Adam's going to be on my channel. You'll see it. A video for it soon. Friday, 8 o'clock. Conservative, liberal politics debate. We're going to be arguing social and economical theories. If you guys get down like that, and
November 12th.
Yeah, November 12th, Mike Winger, big episode. It's going to be exciting. Been waiting to have this guy on my channel for a long time, and it's going to be good. Also, show some love, my peoples. Throw a little thumbs up. Share it out. Tell other people about Skylar Fiction. That's how this keeps going, and we keep getting better guests and better guests. Love you all. Until next time, subscribe to Digital Hammurabi's channel. Make sure you do that. But thank you all. I love you. Subscribe and make the world a better place.